What's up, everybody? Welcome to Facts Not Included Tangent Friday. I'm your host, Peter Cabranis, and today, very, very different episode than that I had prepared for you today. So originally, we were supposed to have a good friend of ours to come on, and we were going to talk music and movies and stuff. Just a lot of fun, opinionated topics, opinionated stuff, of course, here, because that's what we are here, Facts Not Included. But then the real world happened. Real things started to happen. And of course, we've been caught up in this whole COVID-19 pandemic for weeks and weeks and weeks now, and many things have changed our lives, for better or for worse. But then a very tragic incident, of course, occurred in Minneapolis. It's something that I don't really get lost for words much, but it's something that it's hard to describe about seeing what you see in that video and just knowing the obvious, which is it should never have happened. And for those that are probably wondering, what does a podcast like you have to say? What is your point in all this? Why are you even talking about it? Just give us a podcast on entertainment, talk about music, talk about movies, talk about something fun. Yeah, could have done that. I could have easily done that. We could have easily done that. But no, that is not our stance. And I just want to reiterate this really quickly before you listen to the rest of this episode. I'm not getting political by any stretch of the imagination. This is not a political conversation, because none of this is political. None of this should be politicized. The right side, the left side, the middle side, the upside downs, whatever, they all agree that this shouldn't have occurred. So let's just get that straight. This is not political. If you want to get my political views, help me start a political podcast and we can start talking there. But this is not a political conversation, which is why it belongs on Facts Not Included. But the fact of the matter is that there will be facts and probably some opinions in this conversation. But let's just get that straight. This is not political. Today was also the launch of FactsNotIncluded.com. Thank you so much for those that have already checked it out. For those that used to use it, you can continue to use it. FactsNotIncluded.com has relaunched today. That is the bright side of all this craziness. And the reason I bring it up is because if you head over there, you will see an article. It's entitled Message to Our Fans. It is a article that involves links to organizations that could utilize your help. They really could use your help. Links like George Floyd's GoFundMe page and many other organizations that are willing to do what it takes to stop this craziness that is going on in this country. Fighting systemic racism, fighting injustices, and marginalization. There's very important list of organizations. So definitely check that out if you're willing to put your time in to donate. If you're in the Minneapolis area, I always have a tough time saying your town's name. I apologize. If you're in Minnesota, you can help. There are one or two organizations in that link that directly affects you. Affects you all there. But again, I think it's important for us to talk about this here for several reasons. As a community of film fans, a community of music fans, a community of literature fans, a community of music fans. I think I might have said that already, but anyway, a community of creative fans, a community of creative people are going to be huge stepstone, I suppose, going forward in all of this. And I'll get to that in a minute. But I think it's important that we reiterate the importance of the community during this time. But can I say this? Okay. First off, none of this is prepared. I am literally just sitting behind the mic, just talking from my heart. Just want to say that. Can I say this? You know, what happened is terrible. It should never happen. But what should happen is, I believe this cop should get what is deserving of the punishment, which is, prison, life in prison, or whatever it may be. And again, that's not political. That is just my opinion, and not a political one. There's no politics involved there. But I think it's important to mention that what he did and what his other officers around him did was uncalled for, completely psychotic behavior, especially from him. It's real interesting to see all sides of the spectrum come and defend George Floyd, and it's actually laughable and kind of sad and terrifying to see those that don't come in his defense, that don't see the innocence, that don't see the problem. They go, well, if he wasn't doing anything illegal. See, I'm going to stop myself here because I don't want to get this charged. But I will say that regardless of what he may or may not have been doing, I don't think it warranted being stepped on, especially on your neck. That being said, us here at Facts Not Included, I think it's important for us to iterate that we are a company that prides ourselves on our fans. We pride ourselves on the people that listen to us. Without you guys, there's no podcast. And so I think it's important that we understand our listeners. And I know my listeners are from all over the world, all over this country. We have a large listening base in New York, of course, because that's where we're from. A pretty large group in Michigan listen to us. California, Montana. That's weird, right? Montana. And all over the country. And we appreciate our fans. And we understand our fans are from all over the world, in what I mean is all from all walks of life. And so when any aspect of our fandom becomes marginalized, we will stand there. We will stand up for you. We will make sure that we can do what we can to have your voices heard. And this is one of those moments. This is one of those moments entirely. Yeah. Again, none of this is all this is coming out of my mouth right now, and I think it's important to realize that all of this is very raw for a lot of us. And what I mean by that is, I being a minority myself, seeing this happen, one of the first things that come to your mind is rage and hate. But that's right. That's not what you should fight it with. But that is what comes into your mind. And it's real tough to combat that with kindness sometimes. But again, That's why I don't fault some of the people doing what they're doing. Sometimes. I mean, again, not getting political. But let's just keep this one thing clear. Until you are oppressed yourself, it's really hard for you to judge someone else's actions. Let's just leave it at that. But if you do, and this is where I bring back our fans and our community of creative people. If you do want to do something, besides checking out that link on our site about where you could help donate, but if you do want to do something and you want to make a difference, or you want to document this important part of American history, you know, I'm a big fan of documentaries. I'm a big fan. I like shooting them. I've actually shot one. Well, help shoot. Well, anyway, I'm not going to get into it. It's very important to document what's happening in this country. So this is my plea to our fans. If you have a camera, if you have a video camera, if you have a $5 camera, if you have a $10,000 camera, if you have a $100,000 camera, whatever camera you have, utilize it. Go out there. Record what the police are doing, what the protesters are doing, what the good and the bad people are doing. And I'm not picking sides here. I'm literally just saying, like, good and bad people in general. What all the people are doing. Document what's going on. Don't put a spin on it. Don't put a narrative. What is in the document itself will tell that story. I'm a firm believer in that. You don't really need to sway this narrative left or right or middle or center. I think the narrative will speak for itself. And whatever narrative that is the narrative it is. But record what's going on in your city, in your town. You know, I have some friends of mine that did that with COVID. The empty streets in their towns in Pennsylvania. You know, I know a guy in Kansas City that was doing just that. And so, document what's going on during these protests, these riots, these lootings, these whatever they are. Document it. For better or for worse, you have it. You could utilize that for the future. You could help people. You could do whatever. Utilize that. If you're a musician and you write music and you write lyrics, utilize that. Write the next song that makes a difference in this world. You know? Inspire change. Inspire hope. Inspire positivity through your lyrics, through your music. And I know our good friend Edon is I think doing just that. You know, he's sharing love and positivity right now on his Instagram. If you're a writer, you know, to our writing friends, our writing partners, A.D. Greer and all of our other friends in the literature community, understand that this is a time right now where you could put your strengths to the test and write something that sways the landscape in this country. I don't know. Do that. I think it's important that we use our strengths right now, especially during COVID pandemic, but of course during these times. You know, it's a very pivotal year in this country. So again, utilize your strengths as a community. Use what you can, every medium you can, to make a difference. And whatever angle that is, again, this is not a political talk. So if your political views don't align with mine, or don't align with Mike's, or don't align with Antonio's, that's fine, because that is not what we're here to talk about. And if what you want to push is what you want to push, then go ahead. Do you understand what I'm saying? But what is important is to remember what has happened and what is continuing to happen. Look, this is the first time in my life where I'm legally not allowed to leave my house and walk the streets after 8 o'clock at night. I don't think I've ever seen that in my life. You know? Some cities it's 8, some cities it's 10, 11. So, these are very challenging times for us here in the country. But I think the people that are going to make the biggest difference is the creative people in this country. They have a bigger voice, in my opinion, than politicians. They could sway certain people to a certain way in terms of understanding the weight of this situation. And so I think it's very important, as I'm going to continue to say, that the community of creative people come out of this as like a phoenix, you know? Minorities across the country will understand and have continued to understand that them being marginalized isn't their fault. And for people to say that there's a reason that they're being marginalized, you're out of your mind. People are people, man. Humans are humans. We're all the same. The fact that, and it blows my mind, but it's just systemically what we've had to deal with in this country, that racism's a thing. And it may be a thing we never get rid of. But if we can make it a little bit more safe for everyone, then that's good. But it's nowhere near where it could be. And so again, these are little small steps in the right direction. And I'm not a prophet, and I have no idea when this will ever end. But I'm glad that there are people out there that are making a difference, protesting, having their voices heard, and making legislation change, and hopefully the systems change. To the cops out there, keep doing your job, but have a heart. Understand that people are people too, man, as I just mentioned. If you're not in it for the people, quit. It's plain and simple. You don't get into that profession if you're not in for the people. So get out. Get out. I saw a couple of cops have done that. I applaud them. Realizing when something's a little bit too far, getting out of it. So I applaud those cops. But the cops, I know, listen, there's all this conversation about there's good cops out there. No, they're all evil. No, they're all good. And to be frank and to be honest, yeah, obviously there's good people out there, but at the end of the day, you're still part of this system, this organization, if you will, that has a dark history. And it's just embedded in all things. And so to say that you personally aren't a racist, or you personally don't hate black people or whatever, means nothing once you put that uniform on. Because there's a stigma and there's a stench of wrongdoing when you wear that. It is up to all cops to realize that that is the case and that it needs to change. You know? But again, that is as far as I'm going to go, because it's going to touch a territory of politics that is going to get too dangerous for this podcast. But I will say this. Stay safe, stay vigilant, understand your rights, understand what is protected under the law, and understand what is not protected under the law. and understand that this will pass for the better. I think, again, much good will come out of this. I hope. Next week's episode is going to be a lot lighter than this one. This one was heavy-handed. I apologize, but it is a topic we needed to discuss here. Next week's episode is going to be a lot lighter. We are likely, I think we're going to have him on. Again, I know we canceled on him because of all this. Our good friend Dave. So hopefully we get to have him on, and we'll talk about that next week. But again, if you haven't already, check out factsnotincluded.com for your latest information and news from us here at the podcast. And of course, follow us on all of our social media. And listen to us on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple iTunes, including everywhere else you can get a podcast. But those are the big three for us. Thank you guys. Thank you for listening. And let me know. Did this episode make any sense? It's stuff that we needed to get off our chest. And as I told Antonio, I think it was best if I did this alone, because it would get pretty heated. Because him and I have the same views, and it would be a lot of there would be politics in this episode. But let's just say that. But yeah, glad we didn't do that. But let us know if you like this format of this, because we want to make a difference. We want to help. We really do. We'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.